I love souffles. The chocolate, just the way it melts in your mouth. Glad we're finally making a souffle.
That's nice that you like the dessert souffle. This is a savory souffle. This is a souffle that you can actually serve with your main meal.
Thank goodness.
First thing you need to do is you need to find your sweet potatoes. Go ahead and bake. I like them baked because it draws a little more of the moisture out. If you boil them, if you peel them, boil them, you're adding a little more moisture into it. I think baking them is the way to go on this. So what I've done is I've already baked one and we've pureed it up. I've just run it through my little food processor. You got a nice pureed. So what we're gonna do is we have our pot going over here. It's probably gonna be a little hot. Might burn my butter. Go in with my butter. And once again, what we're going to do is we're kind of making, almost the bechamel, but not a bechamel. A little less cream. We're just going to make a nice. This will be our foundation for this souffle. Nice base for the souffle, and then we're just going to whip in some egg whites at the end. What we're going to do is let this butter cook down. Actually, go in with our shallots. Get them out of there.
So this souffle is not like you have to order it 45 minutes ahead of time souffle. This is a pop it in the oven and reheat it.
Well, all the prep is done ahead of time,
right.
Yeah. So when it comes time to service, I've done this on some of our holidays. I've done this with Thanksgiving, maybe even Easter. Great with lamb, sweet potato and lamb. Perfect matches. They go really well together. And this is just a different way to do it. Now you're not going to see this done too much. So if you want to surprise your friends, you're having a nice little dinner at your house and you're doing some nice Colorado lamb, do this nice little twice baked sweet potato souffle. You'll love it.
Garçon! Hey!
We got our roux cooking down. You want to cook this for about 3 to 4 minutes. Like I said, we're kind of cooking some of that flour flavor out of it.
That is really thick.
Well, there's thicker roux. Trust me on that one. There are thicker ones. So we're about good right now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go in a little bit of lemon juice. Shouldn't hurt it. Go in with a little bit of our Dijon.
Oh my.
Yeah, no good stuff.
This is getting good.
You don't want to burn it, so you got to keep mixing it around. Now it's thickened up a little more. But now what we're going to do is, Trig, if you would, slowly add that milk in for me. This is one of the recipes where I will use milk. I'll try to go in nice and slow for me.
It's already so rich.
So go ahead, pour a little more. Go ahead, pour it in. Just pour it in. All right. Now this is going to be thick. And yeah, obviously there will be some little chunks in there, but those chunks should be the shallots. It shouldn't be little flour dumplings. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to go in with our egg yolks. We're going to go in nice and slow with the egg yolks because you don't want to just drop them in and make scrambled eggs in there. Hang on. We're going to let this cook just a little bit. Cook it for another couple minutes. All right, we should be able to go. Like one at a time, just go in nice and slow. There we go. Go ahead, you can go again. Go again. Once you see me incorporate it in, go ahead and drop your next one. All right, last little bit. Okay. It's almost just like tempering your egg yolks in there. You don't want to just dump them in so they cook, but now we do want to cook the egg yolk in there. So that's what we're doing now. What we're going to do is we're going to cook these just like a normal souffle. We're using soup cups for this. You see the soup cup? I've sprayed it with a little of our vegetable spray. You could use butter, ham, whatever you have at home. We're going to cook it in a water bath. I believe it's a 350 degree oven for about 20 minutes, 25 minutes on this. When it comes to that. Yeah, I see you're ready. Oops. Look at me falling apart over here. Okay. That looks about good. We've cooked our eggs, if you see that. That's kind of what you're looking for. It almost looks like a pudding, a little thicker pudding. But that's what we want. We're gonna take this into our bowl. And now we're gonna, if you will grab the sweet potato trig, we're gonna go ahead and drop that right on in there. Now we're gonna mix this together. This will help cool this down, make it a little more easier to work with. Like I said, we don't want your base hot, or it'll deflate those egg whites. You can smell it. You got a nice little Dijon flavor in there.
Yeah.
You smell it. Smell
It's
a little
amazing.
shallot. All right, and you can whip this pretty well. Obviously, when we come to the egg whites, and then we need to fold. You know, instead of whipping it around like I am now, you can fold it in there. So basically, what we're going to do now is we're going to let this cool down a little bit more. You can set this into the refrigerator for about 10-15 minutes just to let it cool down. Then we'll come back and we'll go ahead and whip up those egg whites. Whip our egg whites to a nice stiff peak. We forgot our Tabasco, so I'm just gonna fold in a little bit of Tabasco to our base.
This has got everything awesome in it.
I figured you'd like that, Trig. Keep an eye on your stuff there.
What am I looking for?
Stiff peaks.
Stiff peaks? What am I looking for in the eggs?
Stiff peaks.
Oh. I'm gonna pretend I know what that means.
Yeah. And this is pretty much what your base. Now that it's cooled down, you can see it is a lot stiffer. But once we fold that egg white in there, it should be beautiful. Very nice. Looks nice and silky. Got a lot of chunks in it. How are you doing there, Craig?
I'm not seeing stiff peaks, more like shallow valleys.
All right. I think that's probably about good. Let's see what happens. Let's go like this. Yep, we're good.
Great. Now, let me ask you, that looks like delicious whipped cream. But if I were to eat that right now, it'd be Salmonella City.
No, not necessarily.
No? You can eat that?
Sure. It's freaking egg whites. I mean.
Frickin' egg whites.
There's
I
not
thought you
much
couldn't
taste
eat
to
raw
it.
eggs.
When you've tasted as much rotten food and digested as much rotten food as I have in my career, this little bit won't hurt me at all. I wouldn't suggest giving this to your kids by any means, but you know. All right. So now what we're gonna do is kind of put it around the bowl a little bit. And now we will add. All right, Trig, what I want you to do is fold. You know how to fold?
No.
All right. Get our
I know it's not stirring.
Here, hang on 1 second. Let me get all of our egg whites in there. Okay. To fold, you will come up and over. Fold it.
Got it. Until what?
Until you kind of incorporate it. Maybe we chilled it down a little too much, but I think we can still make it work. You know what? I'm just going to do this.
Okay. You're doing very well, Chef.
Where am I? Stir a little bit.
That looks like stirring.
Yes. Well, it's okay. What you don't want to do is just deflate all of your egg.
No. Got to keep the peak stiff.
Scrape this down, because that's part of our base that we want. Now what we're going to do, nice little scoop. You got your sprayed ready to go into your cup. Just kind of pat it down a little bit.
And how much are we expecting this to rise?
It's going to rise up probably an inch above, but then once it cools, it'll suck back down, and then when you reheat it, it'll rise back up. It won't rise back up that full inch or whatever.
No, on the dessert souffles, they're almost like molten liquid inside. Are you aiming for that with this souffle?
Not necessarily. This with the flour that's in this, it should be relatively stiff inside. And there we go. Sorry, Trig. Just kind of booted you right out of the way.
That's
didn't
okay.
I know. Okay.
It's like when my wife asks me to do things. She says, Trig, will you just let me do it?
Yep. And there you have it. Now we're going to bake those in the oven 25 minutes or so, 350 degrees in the water bath. Make sure your water comes up about halfway on your ramekin. Preheated oven. And another way you can test to see when they're done is you can take a toothpick to this. It will not deflate it. If you stick a toothpick in and you see this come out on your toothpick, you're not done yet. Time it a little bit more. Every oven's different. Because most of the time, which I realize, I'm always telling you times on a convection oven, because that's what we cook with here. On your conventional ovens at home, might take a little bit longer.
Oh.
Good little bit of information there. So.
Spoiled by privilege and access.
Sure.
So when you're cooking this ahead of time, how far ahead can you actually cook them and keep them?
You can have them days ahead. You could cook these, they'll hold for probably a week in the refrigerator.
Great.
You pull them out, you can take a spoon, take your bottom of a spoon, scoop around the side, they'll pop right out for you, put them on a cookie sheet pan, wrap them up with some plastic wrap after they've cooled, and they'll hold for about a week or so.
Delicious. I cannot wait to cook this at home, Chef. Well, there you go, folks. For this recipe and the rest of season 2 and all of season 1, go to thecliffhouse.com. Make sure you stop by our YouTube channel and share all those videos with your friends on Facebook and the rest of the online world and help keep the Savage Kitchen going. See you next time. And help.
It's okay. Start going.
And make sure you go to our Cliff House. Getting late. Should have gotten that Red Bull. Said that backwards. Last time. 5th time's the charm.
Come on. Red Bull gives you wings. You can do this, Drake.
Okay, here we go.